Okay. We're live. Hey, guys. It's Old Man G here, back again with another post-match reaction. I know this is so a few things. My apologies. I've got quite a busy working commitment at this moment in time. So this is quite delayed. So depending on how many people are there, this will either be quite a quick post-match reaction, my post-match reaction to this perfect win, I believe, for Manchester United, or if there's obviously quite a few people, maybe we might combine it with the Sunday live Q&A. So we'll do a post-match reaction first, and then I'll just address a few maybe questions, and depending on how many people are obviously around watching, and we'll basically take it from there. Manchester United. Manchester United 3, Watford 0. Telber, shout out, how you doing? You're right. Amazing. Now, I think disclaimer here, although I heard the I have not been able to listen to Matty actually, Telber, I apologize. Just been very, very busy. But basically, like, a disclaimer here is that, number one, for some reason, this match wasn't actually shown in the UK. So I could only listen to it and follow it in via text. It's very stupid. It's just the nature of the video rights in the UK for some annoying reason. Sorry. And B, the highlights are quite brief. Boxers, good win, guys. Thank you very much. But from what the highlights I've seen and from the commentary that I was listening to as the game was going on, this was a fantastic win for Manchester United. A bit shaky at the start, if I'm honest, So like Maguire and Lindelof getting each other's way. Obviously, the goal that was ruled out for offside, not offside, it was handball, I think, on Craig Dawson that Deeney sort of put away. But we managed to keep in there, and that guy, Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes has really changed the squad. He really has. I think we're undefeated with him in our squad, certainly with him starting, and he's made the difference. And it was great. We obviously we were playing this kind of like Watford looked quite good in the first 30 minutes anyway, and we were playing a lot of this sort of sideways, backwards football, which we seem to play quite a bit this season. And yet it was Bruno Fernandes, once again, that was the one driving, going forward, trying to make something happen. And basically he did. And in doing so, he obviously won the penalty, took the penalty, as cool as you like. So I think we have a new penalty taker, but probably between him and Martial. And before we know, we're 1-0 up. But now we're 1-0 up now, because this is the thing with Manchester United this season, is that if we go a goal up, then generally speaking, it's hard for us to lose the game. 2-0, you're thinking, okay, hopefully, but we're 2-0 up, then we'll probably won the game. If we go a goal down, then it becomes a problem. So with a goal up, especially against the Watford side that now needs to come out a bit more, and we had a lot more impetus to actually sort of go for the jugular. And we did go for the jugular, in particular with Tony Martial. And Jamie has come at the right time to say what I was actually about to say. Tony Martial came from France. I'm gonna show these actually. Tony Martial came from France. The English press said he had no chance. They still say he has no chance, frankly. 50 million down the drain. Tony Martial scores again. I mean, you just have to. You can't write this stuff, because that second goal, like, it was filthy. It was absolutely filthy. You initially think, okay, maybe Foster's done enough. Maybe he can't get it in. But that would to make it 2-0, especially to just get that pressure. It was filthy. It was absolutely filthy. And now Martial has scored 3 goals in 3 games. So I'm interested to see where all the media Martial haters are, because he's now scored, I think, 21, 22 goals in all competitions this season. So where are the Martial haters? Where are they? They keep on saying he's not good enough, but he scored 22 goals. Like, I don't understand. Like, but anyway, I won't go into that. But Anthony Martial again, and I think, like I said, and if you look at the top 10 video that I did a while back, it's all about creating chances. Corny Cornflake, good win. Thank you very much, buddy. Martial is because Martial is lazy, generally. Yeah, well, that's what they keep on saying. He's lazy. He's not he doesn't work hard enough, he doesn't do enough, you know, etc., which is just a load of balls, isn't it? But you know, he keeps on scoring goals, and it's like I said before about the idea of creating chances. You know, Bruno Fernandes, especially in that attacking midfield, you know, number 10 soccer role, driving us forward, you know, helps to create chances. And obviously he did. He got a good assist to Mason Greenwood. It was good to see Greenwood's get on the score sheet again. Like, I saw a shocking stat actually before the game started, in that Manchester United were hand scored at Old Trafford since Mason Greenwood scored against Everton in January the 17th. You know, it's essentially March this week. And the fact that we haven't scored at Old Trafford since January the 17th, when Mason Greenwood scored that goal, just shows you, I guess, the state of our season. But we won. We beat Watford 3-0, you know, so it's a fantastic result. It obviously means, and I'll get the table up in a second, but the important thing here for me, the take on what this tells me is that for once, now Watford have been struggling a bit. I know they've got a bump under Peterson, but they have been struggling a wee bit now. But I'm really hoping that this almost sort of, this is the momentum builder. You know, we're undefeated in 3 games now. We've won all 3 of our games. We beat Chelsea. Okay, we drew against Caboose, to be fair. But I'm hoping that we can build momentum here. You know, I really am hoping that we can build momentum here, because it's getting close. And finally, we've actually beaten a team that actually... oh, my first super chat. Bring back this super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jamie. I really appreciate it. It's my first super chat, so I do really do appreciate that, Jamie. We love you, Bruno. We do. Bruno, we do. Let's make a song about this, guys, actually. Let's make a song. What type of song? Bruno needs a chant. I didn't hear a chant. Like, what's his chant? What's Bruno Fernandes' chant? You know, because there are a lot of chants that we've got. We love you, we do. There's got to be something Bruno Fernandes. We need to create. Tell me what you think in the comments, guys. We need to create some sort of Bruno Fernandes chant, like we have for Martial. Let's try and create something for Bruno Fernandes. I'll be thinking of something as we go along. So let me just get the Premier League table up, because it does make some interesting viewing. And thanks again so much for that, Jamie. You don't actually know how much that means to me, actually. So, because it's my first super chat, and to be honest, I've been feeling had a bit of a rough week this week, if I'm perfectly honest. So it's just good to see that, like, you know, people like what I'm doing, and I'll keep on doing it as long as people keep on watching. It's really as simple as that. Let's have a look. So as you can see, I'll just get the Premier League table up. Obviously, I'm just going to ignore Liverpool at this point. Liverpool won the league. It is what it is. End of discussion. City obviously a second with 57 points. Leicester City have 50 points. Now it's an interesting thing about Leicester City, because Leicester City are dropping points. Okay, you know, like we're 9 points from Leicester City, but that's 3 games, and Leicester City still have to play. I think they still have to play. Let me actually I'll get the fixture up, because you can see the fixtures. Let's have a look at who Leicester City have to play. Okay, they've got Norwich away, which they'll win, obviously. Villa, Watford, Leicester, etc. So there's still, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that Leicester City should be fine, but 9 points is not as unsurmountable, given the fact that we've got 41 as it used to be. They're possibly back in the space, because they have lost. I mean, if you look at it, they've lost 7 games now. Chelsea have lost 9. United have obviously lost 8. So they've still lost less games than we have, but their form isn't exactly great right now. So, you know, it's unlikely, but it is possible. It's possible that Leicester could be drawn into the top 4 competition. Chelsea, obviously, with their win against Spurs, I was hoping that'd be a draw, but there you go. Get on 44 points, and Manchester United now number 5 with 41 points. So we're obviously 5th, 3 points behind top 4 with momentum. We have, I think, City next, which is going to be a tough game. Spurs, obviously, Spurs I don't think are going to get, after the performance against Chelsea, as well as the reality of the injuries that they have, I don't think Spurs are going to be top four. So even though they're a point behind us, I just don't see them threatening Manchester United whatsoever. Sheffield United obviously dropped points as well. I don't think they're going to get top four either. I think that they're too inconsistent. No, I don't say too inconsistent, but they drop a lot of points against small teams as well. So I think that they might get a Europa League spot. Wolves are the ones I think to worry about. Although they are still about 5 points from Chelsea, so they could do it, but they've got more to cover. Arsenal are 37. Arsenal are at least 7 points, possibly, but I think coming up to this end of this, there's just still too many points. Too many points to actually, I think, for Arsenal to break ground, in my personal opinion. So, but United are in it. You know, United are very much in it, and I'm just going to show you. Obviously, I don't know why it's showing me Arsenal's picture there because I really don't care. But I just want to just show you guys the next couple of fixtures, and let me know in the comments, guys. Do you think that these fixtures, you know, are winnable? Obviously, you've got Club Brugge coming Thursday, and hopefully, I'll be doing a bit of stuff for that. But here are basically the upcoming fixtures. The Everton Manchester United game, which is Sunday, has actually been rearranged, so that's actually not happening. So otherwise, we would be playing Everton. So that's probably going to be pushed back towards the end of the season. We then obviously have so Thursday, or that'll be Derby. Derby against Manchester United, obviously away. Wayne Rooney obviously making his comeback appearance against Manchester United in that. And on that Sunday, so as we cover, it is the Manchester Derby. It's Manchester United versus Manchester City. That is going to be tough. These next 3 games here, for me, will determine, because obviously game is going to be delayed because of I think Carabao Cup, FA Cup or something. So these 3 games are the key, because it's quite possible that we could lose all 3 of these games. Manchester United against Manchester City at home, it's going to be tough. And I can't remember the last time that Manchester United beat Manchester City at home. We've beaten them away twice, strangely, but we haven't beaten them at home in for what feels like forever. So this game, the only hope, you know, Jamie says that's going to be tight. That's a top upcoming month. It is a top upcoming month, buddy. It is. The only hope that I have with City really is that I think with this in this period, they'll be obviously having Champions League, and it's clear that City's attention will be on Champions League. I don't think they're not going to not play, but I just think you have a team that, you know, by this time, unfortunately, Liverpool may have actually won the title. So I guess the point is, aside from just bragging rights, the momentum, the energy, there's no real gain for City really in this. They've already got top 4. They'll be fighting for the Champions League. You know, there's a very good chance that we want to be resting players. So, you know, we could potentially use that to our advantage. So hopefully, especially like Bruno creating things and Wan-Bissaka and Solskjaer, we might get something. Spurs away, actually, I was concerned about, but I'm not concerned about it anymore, because I just think that Son is not going to be. Harry Kane, I think, is back maybe April, possibly. Son is out. I just don't think that Spurs have enough with the injuries they have to beat Manchester United. So I think we can go to and do the double on Mourinho like we beat them at Trafford. Sheffield United at home, I think, is a big game as well. And I think that, you know, it'll be an interesting one, because, again, on the one hand, Sheffield United, especially at home, I think it'll be difficult for us because, you know, Chris Wilder's done a very, very good job, Sheffield, and they're structurally and they're sound, and they'll frustrate us more so than Watford did. But again, you know, will Sheffield United be thinking, because by then you'd think that they probably would have been out of getting a spot for Europe, potentially. So if they're in a spot for Europe, they might go at it. But if they're not, then maybe they might just think, you know what, we're already comfortable. Why should we go all out? You know what I mean? That's potentially. So difficult month, basically difficult month. And Ollie's our top four. If we win, if we take even, I would say, because Chelsea have a lot of difficult games to come. But I think if we take 6 points from those games, 5 even, but I still think we need 6 because we would need Chelsea to slip up against Liverpool. We've already played them twice and beaten them twice, but Chelsea still need to play. They need to play against, I think, Liverpool and City again, and a few other teams. So we need them to slip up a lot more. 10 people watching. Oh, thank you so much, everyone who's watching. Please like the vid, like the vid, like the vid, like the vid, like the vid. And shout out to Wazzy Skip Jumping, although I know that you are a Liverpool fan. So there you go. So yeah, this is going to be a very, very difficult. It's going to be a very, very difficult period for Manchester United, I think, in that March period. But let's be positive. Let's be absolutely positively positive, because this was a good result for Manchester United. This was a very, very good result for Manchester United, and it spurs the myth that Manchester United cannot play. I still think, how can I put this? I still think tactically we need to improve. And, there is a question mark here of, are we winning because this is an Ollie masterclass? Is it because Ollie is doing the right things? Or are we winning because just of individual brilliance? You know what I mean? Are we winning but just because we've got individually good players? Jamie Villapano says, Jose is also shit against his former teams. That is true. That's a good question, actually. Is Jose Mourinho finished, do you think? Do people think that Jose Mourinho is actually finished at Manchester United Football Club? Because, so not Anna Manchester, but just as a coach, to be honest, because yes, you could say that he's not got the players at Spurs, but you can just see the type of football that he's playing. It's not good. Georgia B, shout out. Thank you so much for joining. We're winning because of Bruno. The game is passed Jose by. Bruno. Check out my top 10 shows. By the way, I think it's the second week. The top 10 show. Let me know what you think and what I can improve, because my goodness, Bruno Fernandes, Fred. It'll be interesting to see who switches in the next week's top 10 show. But I was surprised Solskjaer didn't pick Bailly. Yes, they kept the clean sheet. Thank goodness for that. But I still think Lindelof and Maguire as a partnership doesn't work. I just don't think it works. It's not because I think Lindelof and Maguire are bad individually, but I feel like Bailly should be with one of them. So either buy Lindelof or buy Maguire. But Lindelof Maguire just doesn't work because, a classic, they got in each other's way at the beginning of the game. But more importantly, they just don't have the pace to come back. Bailly has pace. We need at least one centre-back that is actually pacey. So that if we do have a ball over the top or whatever, like you saw it in the Europa League, ball over the top, goal. That's happened a few times this season because Bailly and Maguire, they push up high during a corner, during a set piece, and they can't run back. So, that's my opinion. And maybe Solskjaer's trying to rest him, trying to preserve him. That's fine. I still think Solskjaer doesn't rate him that well, but that's my opinion anyway. That's my opinion. Somali Flame didn't catch Man U game, but impressive results. I still think Chelsea will end up getting a CL spot. It's going to be tough, bro. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, Somali Flame. It's going to be tough. It will all depend, I think, for me, on whether on Chelsea's Champions League, obviously, because obviously the deeper they go in. But also, I think that Chelsea, it's going to be an interesting one. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't rule off Chelsea just yet, but I think a lot of Chelsea fans are getting a bit too gassed about beating Spurs because, well, one, we beat Spurs, but more importantly, two, this is a Spurs team that's quite weakened. And I'm not 100% sure that Lampard we'll see. I think is the point. We'll see. I'm not 100% convinced, and I think Chelsea also have some difficult games to come, and most notably against Liverpool, Manchester City. You know, we've already played Liverpool twice. United have at least already played Liverpool twice. We played Arsenal twice. We played you guys twice, Chelsea twice. We played Wolves twice. I don't know if we played Leicester City twice. I'm not 100% sure, but we still played City. So we played a lot of the big boys twice. So I think as it comes towards the end of the season, our run is actually quite good, is my point. Jamie says one of the best to do it, but the game has evolved. It has indeed. Georgia B. Lindelof has a mistake in him. I think both Lindelof and Maguire have a mistake in them, to be honest. That's what I'm saying. I just think that for me, the issue though is pace. It's that Bailly can get back. You know, he can get back. There was one, I think it was against Liverpool, wasn't it? When Salah was in, like, Daniel James was the one that was trying to come back and try and stop him from scoring. Daniel James. Where were Lindelof and Maguire? Like, Bailly would have chased that and got back. You know, we just need that. We need that in our squad. We need it. Joel Abraham shouts out, thank you for joining part. Lindelof is poor aerially. He gets bullied a lot. And I think, again, that's one of the differences between, for me, Bailly and Lindelof. Bailly is actually quite good aerially. We'll see what happens. We'll see. I just think that, you know, if I was Ollie, I would alternate between the centre-backs because Maguire and Lindelof are slow and have also been playing a lot of games. So if I was Ollie, at Old Trafford, in the Europa League, on Thursday, you play Eric Bailly. Okay, you play Eric Bailly and you play Harry Maguire or Lindelof or whatever and see what happens. That for me is what you should do. Somali Fame says, I rate Bailly, just shame that he's injury prone. Yeah, I mean, that's always been the big thing with Eric Bailly is that, you know, he's injury prone. But he is, I think it's 24. I think he's 24 years old. So there's still time, is the point. He's still developing, and we'll see what happens. Because for me, defenders get into their prime. You know, I think they're late. So as a defender, as a centre back, your prime for me is like when you're like 27, like 26, 27. That's when you're going into your prime. From about then to about maybe 32. And then depending if you play in Italy, it could go further than that. But that for me is a defender's prime. You don't see many like top class young defenders, if that makes any sense. You know, I think De Ligt was overhyped, and a lot of young players were being overhyped in age. But if you're thinking about like top centre backs that are young, they're really not that many. You know, usually the best ones are at least in their late 20s. So for me, Eric Bailly has at least a good 3-4 years to get into his prime. You know, so he just needs to play regularly and just to stay fit. Joy Brown, when do we make the decision to go for either top 4 Europa? Now that is a good question. I'm going to turn this a bit of Q&A as well, guys. So by all means, while this is a post-match reaction for Manchester United versus Watford, this is also just kind of like a Sunday night Q&A as well. So if you have questions just about Manchester United in general, about football in general, but also just about me, if you want to ask questions about me or about personally, whatever, then by all means ask away, and we'll do this as long as I'm live. So let me know, just as long as you guys are still watching. When do you make the decision to go for either top 4 or Europa? To answer that question, it's a good, interesting question because right now I agree that I feel like Manchester United. On the one hand, initially I would have said, but you know, do we have the squad? But now I think that because of obviously Bruno Fernandes and Igalo, we have options. So, you know, Igalo, though he's on fit, he'll play games. He can come off the bench. He can get involved. And there's an additional help there. You know what I mean? And players can therefore get rest. Greenwood's obviously coming back. McTominay is now back. Bruno Fernandes with additional signing. So suddenly Manchester United have Pogba will be back at some point. Bailly obviously came back fit. Maybe Twenty might come back soon. Dallow's obviously there. So suddenly Manchester United have a lot more squad depth than we had, early on in the season. And so potentially we could still compete for top 4 in Europa League. I don't think with the squad that we have now that we have to make a decision, especially with how inconsistent Chelsea are. I think we need to just, what I would say is that we need to obviously beat Club Brugge next week, get through, and then see who we're drawn against. Because if we're drawn against a tough opponent, then maybe we might have to consider it. Georgia B says, "Who can read Ollie's mind?" I've got no idea. I've got no idea because I've got no idea what he'll decide. All I know for sure is that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets us top 4 this season, he can't be sacked. And some United fans might be upset about that, but the reality is that I was going into this season thinking, you know what, if we get 5th, that's something. And to be fair, even 5th, because technically 5th is an improvement over what happened last season. But Bruno Fernandes is the difference. Bruno Fernandes is, as George B says, Bruno Fernandes making everyone look better. He just is. Bruno Fernandes is just that type of player that he just makes everyone. Don Wagner, shout out. Oh, by the way, a bit of an announcement actually. So with a few of the regulars that are here, like I'll probably be making a couple of you guys mods, just to sort of help, just modding the sort of the channels or the comments and stuff like that. Just a few of the regulars that have been popping up. So if you see in the next chat that you've got like a blue thing in your thing, that'll be because I've just made you sort of a mod, just so that you know. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes, to what I was saying, I think the only concerning thing for me is that it's just scary just how better he is than everybody. Like, we were lucky. Like, I actually thought, okay, he's going to be good, but he might need to have time to adapt to Premier League or etc. Do all these things. He's not had. Bruno Fernandes had no. He didn't have any. He was good. There was no time needed to adapt to the Premier League. Gaming Morbid, shout out to the other man. Don Wagner. God, please, I'm fed up of Ollie smiling Solskjaer. Don Wagner. Well, this is an interesting question. Are you one of those fans that thinks that should United lose games if it means that Solskjaer would be sacked? Do you think it's one of those like lesser of two evils type of situations? Is that what potentially people think? George B says 2 levels better. We were lucky. I don't know why. I don't answer to Joe Abraham. I don't know why there weren't other clubs that weren't in it for Bruno. Also, Don Wagner, just an aside, like, man, Dr. Life, man, Dr. Life. Oh, Dr. Life. It's tough. It's tough. PM me. We need to have words, man. Anyway, Joe Abraham, why were no clubs in for Bruno? We are lucky. I actually don't know. Because for me, Bruno Fernandes would be great in a City team. He'd be great in a Liverpool team. He'd be great in a Spurs team. So the fact that none of those players were interested, I mean, I guess it was January, and maybe he would have gone to one of those types of teams in the summer. But thankfully, United, Wood got his ass out and finger out, and actually sign the player. But he's just levels better, and I think it's just scary how. Because in my mind, I'm like, what is this? Aside from like your Wan-Bissaka's Prime Bailly, for example, and Prime Martial and Prime De Gea. Let's put him there. You're just thinking like, there's Bruno, and then there's Pereira, Mata, and Lingard. And you're like, it's almost like we've forgotten what a good attacking midfielder number 10 was, because we were so used to it. Just imagine us getting a good right winger. Like, I'm not even talking about Sancho, but even like even Adama Traore is better than what we have now, in my opinion. Ollie won the lottery. Bruno, imagine that Ollie wanted Longstaff. This signing Bruno Fernandes should be the end of. If we are linked to Sean Longstaff in the summer, that alone is sackable. That alone is a sackable offense. We should not have any tentative links to Sean Longstaff at all, like at all. That should be dead and buried. If I'm an idealist and I'm a realist, my signings would be realistic signings. Would be like a Partey from Atletico as a DM, a Adama Traore at right back, and then a forward, Timo Werner. Those would be my three, and that's summer business done. Or Dries Mertens from Napoli. Those are my three, because for me those are three relatively realistic targets. Sancho, you know, you gotta just bear in mind that like we'd be spending 100 to 120 million plus, and so I'm not sure. Don Magnan, that hopscotch penalty by Bruno was class. It was. We've got a new penalty taker now. Don't live stuff. I've got your back. Thanks, man. Thanks, man. It's just the constant training, exams, ARCP, all this sort of stuff like that. It's getting me down, man. I'm actually considering quitting. So, but we'll nah. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's yeah. Georgia B, Real was in for him, and Spurs were. I don't think the real links were real, to be honest. Spurs, I think, were, but I think the problem with Spurs in January was that because Harry Kane got injured, and obviously Son somewhat after that, but more so Kane, I think Spurs' priority changed from a midfielder, which they have plenty of, to a forward, which is why I think signing Bruno Fernandes in January wouldn't have made sense, because they really need to sign a forward. Spurs are linked with Igalo, frankly, because they needed that forward. You know, people are cussing Igalo, but the reality is that, like, at least, yes, Igalo might not play for us, but it's just having that option. You know, we have an option. You know, I looked at Spurs against Chelsea yesterday, and they just had no attacking option whatsoever. They just couldn't do anything. You know, so I think if they had Igalo, they would have had something. You know. Smiling Faye, opposing manager shouldn't think Ollie will bring tactics to a game. Lampard made that mistake. Lampard's mistake, to be honest, was not playing Olivier Giroud. If Lampard had played Olivier Giroud, you possibly would have won that game. I'm not entirely sure why he played Batshuayi, who's probably needs to be inducted into Banter FC Academy, to be honest. He needs to move. There are quite a few. Let me know in the comments, guys, which players should be. What is your Banter FC starting 11? What is your Banter FC starting 11 for this year? Because there are quite a few players that should be inducted in that, and at least I would argue 2 or 3 from Manchester United. But there we go. Don Magnus says Martial's resting mean face, scanning eyes with those Hitman black gloves equals class gunman. Indeed. That finish was just absolutely unreal. It was, whoo. I mean, it was filthy. It was absolutely filthy. It was like, and I just don't get why people, like, he scored 21, 22 games, no competition this season, and people are still saying he's lazy. Like, I don't get it. Like, he scored 22 goals in no competition. Like, he's lazy. Like, I just don't understand. Like, he's not. It just shows that when you have a player like Bruno Fernandes in particular that helps to create chances, you know, you're going to get the best out of your forwards. As simple as that. Joe Abraham, rather have Fellaini back than Longstaff, to be honest. I agree, because at least Fellaini won the ball in the air and scored goals. Sure, Longstaff's not going to do that. His brother, on the other hand, if we had to pick between the two, I'd rather take Matty than Sean, because his brother always scores against us. So that's something. You know, Matty Longstaff scores against us. You know, Sean Longstaff does nothing. So if we're going to get one, get the younger one, not the older one, please. Joy, J Moscow Live shouts out party from Atletico. He wouldn't even make it into a Sheffield squad. Really? I think, well, I mean, I agree with that. Maybe he's not had the best season this season, but I still think that he's better than what we have in that position in terms of CDM. Because I don't think McTominay and Fred, in my opinion, are like central defensive. Because to be honest, from going forward, I want Manchester United to only play one holding midfielder, one central defensive midfielder in a 4-3-3, not two. But I can't think of any, unless, I mean, Arsenal don't seem to be playing using what's his name, a Uruguayan guy, Torreira a lot. So possibly maybe a bid for him. I don't know that there are many good CDMs out there that are freely available. And Ndidi, as Joe Abraham says, Ndidi, the thing is that Leicester City, Everton, and a few other teams are at this position because they've got rich owners that they have no reason to sell the players. Like, we've got to bear in mind that these Leicester City and Everton are owned by billionaires. I think Thai and Egyptian, I think billionaires, something like that. So they've got no reason to sell. They don't need the money, So unless the player wants to force a move, they've got no reason to sell. So if Ndidi's under contract, and he will be, they'll say, okay, yeah, sure, you can have Ndidi, slap 100 million price tag on him. If Maguire is worth 85 million, Ndidi's going to be in that range, So there you go. Grealish. Yes, we should get Grealish. I think Grealish would be, especially if Pogba goes in the summer, which is a very good shout. I think Grealish is. This is turning into QA now, so I might switch it with some banner. But yes, I do think Grealish should be an option. A lot of that will just depend on whether Paul Pogba goes in the summer. If Paul Pogba goes in the summer for, let's say, 150 million, we can use that money. I'd say we go for Grealish. I would say more so than Madison, because Grealish will be cheaper, and then use the remainder of that money in addition to get a right winger, a CDM, and a forward. Forward, CDM, and a right winger, especially right wing and forward, are the priority positions. We could survive without a CDM. I bet not great, but we do need a forward and a CDM, because Igalo is obviously not going to be here after his loan spell, because this is just like a one-off thing for him. Although he might go to another Premier League team, so who knows? People seeing him, maybe someone on the Premier League might want him. Who knows? I'll just get this up because I'll just quickly change it. Right. In comments. Oh, Red Devil Weekly, shout out to you, buddy, mate. Before I get to comment, actually, Batshuayi is definitely a banter player. It's the difference between Martial is better than Batshuayi by far, because you could see the difference is finishing. Like the amount of chances that were created for Chelsea for Batshuayi, and he missed them. We barely created any chances for Martial, but take one or two chances, boom, he scores. There you go. Pogba may have played his last game here. He may have. The question, I think, is, will he be able to go in the summer? I don't know. I really don't know, because there were people, there's rumors like sort of saying that Real Madrid only value Pogba now 50 million. And you're like, are Manchester United really going to let Pogba go for 50 million? Like, they're certainly not going to let him go for the amount that, because we bought him for about 78, I think 80 million. So to sell him at a loss, like that's definitely not going to happen. So, well, at the very least, we should get players in for him. So we'll see what happens. I'll just put this up. Yeah, I'm just changing this to Sunday Night Live Q&A, because this is essentially becoming a Q&A. So by all means, questions and stuff like that, it is keep the questions coming. Red Devil Weekly just in the comments says, apart from a sloppy opening 30 minutes, it was a great performance and important 3 points. Bruno wants to Thursday. Thank you so much for your comment, Red Devil Weekly. Please go ahead and subscribe to his channel, guys. He posts a lot of very good Manchester United content. We need to get that 100% Manchester United podcast back up running, guys. I miss it, guys, because really, really good weekly. So I don't know where you guys have been. So, but you know, let's get back on it, or maybe just find a date that's convenient for everybody. But yeah, head over to his channel and support him. So really, really appreciate it, guys, if you do that. But Bruno definitely was our MVP, and I put Marshall in our bracket as well. Somali Flame, Partey has dominated games against Wimbledon, other big team in Spain. I would love to see him in Chelsea, offload Barkley and move up Kobe and play Partey with Kante. Do you need to play Partey and Kante together though? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure whether personally, I think Chelsea need to look at other areas in the midfield. I think their midfield is actually not that bad. I think they obviously need to sort out the winger situation because Willian and Pedro are trash. And the forwards, I think that you need. Well, you've got Giroud, and if Giroud leaves in the summer, I think another four might be an option. You know, Aspilicueta as well, Alonso. I think your fullbacks and your wingers are where Chelsea need to kind of look at, not necessarily in the midfield, in my opinion. John Ragnar, all he needs to prove his actual post-match comments. What did he say? Because I didn't watch the post-match reaction. What did he actually say? Did he say we're improving or some sort of thing? Like, because I just assume that Ollie is just still naive to a lot of this stuff because he says a lot of stuff that you're like, yeah, but you got the win, you know, so we're not going to look at it. And what medical rotation are you on? I'm currently a radiology registrar. So So it's 2 years into registrar. So the registrar program in the UK, and hopefully to become a consultant at the end of it. Emphasis on the word hope. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Keep the questions coming now, because essentially we are doing a Sunday night live Q&A. So question discussions, even regarding Champions League, to be honest, because obviously we are doing a Red Devils of July podcast Monday night, where we'll be reviewing the previous week's Champions League games and also previewing the upcoming Champions League games again, or at least making some predictions and seeing what goes on, as well as the Europa League games. So it's going to be a lot of discussion tomorrow, and hopefully you guys will get involved as well. Good to see the British teams generally doing quite well. Somali Flame says Kante is not a defensive midfielder anymore under this system, and we need a forward, that's for sure, and a left back. Yeah, I agree. I just think that you know, are you gonna, if you play, I don't know, if you're playing a Kante and Partey, would it almost be like you're playing two holding midfield? I guess you can switch into that. We'll see. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're saying. I just think that, I guess it depends on how much money Lampard is going to have to spend over the summer and how much he's going to use into some youth. But and especially with the likes of Loftus-Cheek coming back, I just don't think that the midfield is necessarily an area that I think Chelsea right now is a critical area, so that Chelsea right now need to strengthen. I think that your fullbacks and your wing backs, fullbacks and the wingers you've got obviously Ziyech now, so that's where I would be focusing in my opinion. But yeah, guys, can Manchester United beat Club Brugge? Is the thing, as we're obviously we keep going with this Sunday night like Q&A. Let me know in the comments as well. Do you think that we obviously will be able to beat these guys? Don Michael James needs some time on the bench. I do agree. Daniel James is tired, I think. I think Daniel James has played like so many games, and he shouldn't be. You know, like when I saw James and Greenwood on the speed, I was like, James and Greenwood, we should have like, you know, what we should have had is we should have had like so obviously Rashford when Rashford's obviously fit, you know, the positive for me, and this is a positive, is that when Rashford's fit, just imagine what happens when, like, our strongest team for me would be, you know, De Gea in goal, then you've got Wan-Bissaka right back, Bailly and Maguire, or Bailly and Lindelof, then Luke Shaw, possibly Brandon Williams, but Luke Shaw right now, then Fred, Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and then Rashford, Martial, and then Greenwood, or Daniel James in that thing. That's our strongest team right now, and that's actually quite strong. I just, it's just a shame that Marcus Rashford, I don't think is going to be back towards the end of the season, because I think if Marcus Rashford was in this team, we'd be scoring a lot more goals with the creativity that would be happening there. And James will be getting a rest, a much needed rest. Don't worry, Man United can beat Club Brugge, but Oli can't, if that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think that I would anticipate, especially with the, I think because we're not playing this weekend as well, that's the advantage. So we're not playing for another. So we played obviously today. We're not playing for at least 4 days, and then we're not playing this weekend because of the rescheduled fixtures. So I suspect that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because of the fixture rearrange, is going to go strong. So I suspect that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to play the same team that played against Watford, with maybe a few exceptions, like maybe he might bring in Williams at left back, possibly, or maybe he might bring in maybe he might rest Wan-Bissaka but Dalot in, or maybe but he'll most likely start like Fred and Bruno Fernandes from the beginning. And I think, or like I said, it will probably take a Maguire. I'm going to put Bailly in. So for me, if he starts Bailly, Fred and Fernandes, I think that'll be too much for Club Brugge. You saw that when we actually started pressing Club Brugge and creating things, you know, we caused them problems. I think anyway. George B. Ollie's coaching against Bruges improved a lot once Fred and Bruno came in. Exactly. So I suspect that because we don't, if we had a game on, like if we were playing City or even Everton on Sunday, we probably would have played the same team rotated. But because we essentially have now a week off, because the game got pushed, the Sunday game, or Saturday game got pushed back, he can effectively play a strong team on the Thursday. And then we have an FA Cup game against Derby, which is not going to be easy, but he can afford to rest players in that Derby FA Cup game the following Wednesday. So, you know, we'll see. Smiley thing, where is Chong? That's a good question. Where is Chong? Can't you replace James so he can rest for lesser games? Where is Chong? Did come on today, and fair enough. But the reality is, I mean, where is Gomez? You know, where is Angel Gomez? You know, to be honest, with the injuries, you'd expected that Gomez would have given us something. But unfortunately, because of the way that Manchester United Football Club is run, because Angel Gomez and Steve Chong have not signed contracts with the club, they've been frozen out. It's as simple as that. They've been frozen out. They've been frozen out the respective teams, and that's just it. And I think as United have been concerned, it's like, well, if you're not committing your future to us, then why bother giving you game time? Or maybe they just weren't going to give them game time, because, to be honest, I haven't seen any evidence on the first half of the season that Solskjaer was going to play Chief Chong Gomez more, and maybe that's why they were like, you know what, you know, we'll leave. And the sad thing about this is that I wouldn't, if any of those guys get, I'm sure they will get moves. I would not be surprised if Chief Chong or Angel Gomez end up performing very well, and we end up haggling or trying to buy them back later. And we can't, because their contracts expire, we can't do any buyback clauses or anything like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Don Rankers, I play from left to right, Martial, Igalo, Greenwood. Igalo is definitely, I think I think Igalo will become maybe more of an option, probably like towards the latter end of March. I think Igalo still looks a bit unfit. I think he still needs a bit more game time to get back into the Premier League. I think he needs a goal, especially to give his confidence. And so I'd like to see him against. What I would like actually is I like Igalo to play against Derby. I would like if Igalo can't play against Derby, then what's the point? No? So I'd like Igalo to play against Derby. I like and just to give him a bit more. I don't want to say confidence, but game time to get his fitness back up, and then hopefully, like if we're going towards the end of the season and we're like in the Europa League and something for top 4, that will give us at least a bit more. Give us more options. But right now, I suspect that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will continue to do the Martial as number 9 with James and Greenwood or Lingard or something like that. But I think what was good, I guess you could argue, is that like he did play Greenwood and James. You know, there was no Pereira, there was no Lingard. They've been given chances. You'd think that Lingard would have come in as the right on this team, but no. Because look, they've been given chances and they haven't taken the chances. So even in this game, they're not involved, which is sad in one way, but I guess it's to be expected. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I suspect, like I said, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go strong on Thursday, given that we've got at least another week before we play another game, and hopefully that means we'll be in the draw for the round of 16 effectively. In fact, look at the way that things are going. A lot of British teams, all the British teams are going to be in. Rangers will be there. Celtic will be there. Wolves are already there, frankly, with their 4-0 win. Arsenal most likely will be there because they're not going to lose to Olympiacos at the Emirates. So you could eventually have 5 British teams in the round of 16. 5. And then you just know that one of the teams is going to be drawn against. They're going to be drawn against each other at some point. You know, it just is what it is. George B. Ollie's saving Lingy for Bruges again. Possibly. But I just think that Ollie will want to win this game and ensure that we just go through. He might switch it up, but I just don't see the rationale behind it when the players have been given at least a good 4 days rest up until the game, and they'll have a lot of rest afterwards. So he's going to go strong because he's playing, as I think Don Wagner said earlier on, Ollie's in survival mode. He wants to win. He wants to build momentum. He wants to stay in the job. And at the end, the reality is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not going to get sacked. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finishes the season top 4, he's not going to be sacked. Let alone if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finishes top 4, wins the Europa League, and let's say an FA Cup, he's not going to be sacked. That's just not going to happen. It just won't happen at all. Let's be real. So much to maybe the dismay of some fans, but it's not going to happen. Don Wagner, do you think that it would help if Phelan changes the settings on Ollie's watch so that when it shows 80 minutes, but it's actually 65 minutes in the game, he makes a sub so they have time to impact games? I think that's not actually a bad that's actually not a bad shout, Don Wagner. It's weird with Ollie because it's difficult because it's just like who's doing the coaching at the end of the day? Who is actually the one that's actually doing the coaching? Is it him? Is it Phelan? Is it Carrick? Is it McKenna? Who's the one that's actually doing the coaching? Because logically, I mean, of course, in the 3-0, it's just like, yeah, but I mean, I could see in that game against Club Brugge that we lack pace and lack creativity. So if you want to change things quick, he doesn't seem to want to do changes quickly. I do think he's learned his lesson with Lingard and Pereira. I think he's seen that they're just not really cutting it. I suspect Lingard, especially now that he's got his agent is now Mina Raiola, will possibly push for a move, possibly to Italy, because it seems a lot of ex-United players, your Matici's, your Pereiras, your well, not Matic Pereiras, but obviously Sanchez, Lukaku, Smalling, Ericsson is there. A lot of players. I feel a lot of players are jumping the Italy train, in part because, one, you're going to be still playing competitive European football, better chance of getting to the Champions League. But also, I think in the Italian league, there's just more longevity. There's more longevity in the Italian league than there is in the Premier League. It's a lot more slower paced. So if Lingard, for example, played in the Italian league, I think that Lingard would do quite well because of his pace. You know, look at what Ashley Young's doing, for example. So it is what it is. Anyway, guys, thanks everyone so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys have made this a very, 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 very good stream. Thanks so much. I apologize that this was late. It was just I was just busy at work. But we got there in the end. Hopefully, I'll be doing a PES stream for those who like playing PES at some point. We've got obviously Top 10 United weekly, which we're doing weekly, usually on Saturdays. So we'll do one on Saturday to see who's in the top 10. Obviously, Manchester United plays teams. I possibly might be covering the Club Brugge game, but I'm not 100% sure as of yet. And then is there anything else? There's not really that much else going on, really, to speak for Manchester United. So, most importantly, we obviously have a Red Devil Studio Live podcast tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. It'll be tomorrow, 8:30 tomorrow. Stay tuned for Red Devil Studio Live, where we're talking everything Champions League, Europa League, Manchester United chances, etc. Smiley Flame, take care. Thank you very much. Shout out to everyone: Jamie, Don Magno, Giorgio, Smiley Flame, Joel, Red Devil Weekly. You know, everybody in the chat that basically came and took part. Really appreciate it, guys, and thank you so much for your ongoing support. If you're new to the channel, you're listening, please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, United X. And smash the notification button for the latest Manchester United news. Have a nice evening, guys, and cheers.